keep getting comments from people asking why I haven't replied to Jeff Mead. And I'll be honest, I don't know what to reply. I don't even know what you would want me to reply. I don't think there's anything in the video to reply to.
Okay, so for one, I think there were plenty of things you could have responded to. What you could have done is provided the source material for the accusations you were making about Trump. The source material is very important. Here's why. So let's say while the presidential election was happening, right? Or even now, I made a claim that Kamala Harris wanted to raise the income tax to 90% for every person in the country. Would you immediately believe that and then want to have a conversation based off of what I told you? Or would you want to see the proof of that yourself and then have an informed discussion after seeing the proof? I would hope that you would want to see the proof before engaging in that discussion. I confidently say a reasonable person would. And when I say proof, I'm talking about the source material. For example, the video proof of her making that announcement or her announcing that on her X account or on her website, it listed as a policy. If I couldn't show you any proof, how do you know what I'm saying is the truth? So then I noticed somebody commented this and you liked it. This individual said, folks like me are bad faith actors, and you liked the comment, which I found interesting because throughout this entire interaction, I've given you grace. I've given you the benefit of the doubt. And I could have very easily made the same claim about you. And here's how I could have done that. If we go back to your video, your original video asking this question, right? You showed zero source material. And you're asking people who voted for Trump, right, their reactions based off of your interpretations of what Trump said. So you didn't give them the actual information for them to see and then ask them based off of what they saw. You gave yourself a home court advantage. You set the entire discussion up based off of your interpretation of what Trump said. You didn't actually show the audience what Trump said and then ask them, okay, why do you interpret it this way? No, you took your own interpretations or things you've been told and you use that as the foundation for the conversation. As I said before, it's giving yourself a home court advantage. It can very easily make it seem like you're trying to push a certain narrative rather than actually have open and honest discussions. But I didn't do that. I completely ignored that and gave you the benefit of the doubt. And again, the reason why source material is so important is because if we don't actually have some foundation of the truth, anyone can make any claim. And now we're having discussions about claims that we don't even know if they're actually true or not. So I think asking for the source material is very reasonable, very fair. So the reason I was so particular about the source material is because if we don't have that, we have no solid foundation that we can build upon. And another way not providing the source material can be seen as bad faith is it always gives you an out. You can always move the goalpost. It's like quicksand, you can move around. Providing the source material doesn't allow that near as much because at that point it's just he said versus she said or hearsay. And you said you didn't know what to respond to. I literally ended the video with this question. The question again I would have for you is, are you actually going to the source material and actually seeing what was said and actually making sure you're getting the full context? Or are you just trusting what your sources are telling you without them actually showing you the full context? So you could have very easily responded with me asking that question, you answering that saying, yes, I do have source material. I do go look at the source material. Here's the source material for the three things that I said. And you could have shown us that source material and then explained why you thought the way you did. So then in this video, you also said this.
The thing that Jeff asked of me in his video was, why do you see these things differently?
Well, I actually asked him more than that, but I guess that's not super important right now, so let's let him continue.
The thing is that in his video, he referenced a video that I had already made where I had already explained exactly why I see these things differently.
Okay, let's go see that video.
I immediately put my foot in my mouth with that video, and I apologize. Should I have said that Donald Trump said that he was going to put Liz Cheney in front of a firing squad? No, that is not exactly what he said. I was speaking from my interpretation of what he is saying, and I want to explain. I did watch that video. I had seen it. I think that oftentimes when I hear people defending Donald Trump or they're saying that the thing that he said actually isn't that bad, they are simply focused on that clip or the context of the speech or the interview that he was giving at the time. And that's important. It is important. We should be looking at context. Everyone should care about context. But I think my interpretation of context or what is relevant context is a little different. When you look at abusive behavior, oftentimes it is not something that you can put like a finite point on. You can say this is a clear example of how they're an abusive person. It's usually confusing. And oftentimes what you're looking for is a pattern of behavior, trends. And Trump does this thing where he will say something out of pocket. to see how people react or to see if someone will do something on his behalf. And lately, he's increasingly been saying things where he is putting someone that he disagrees with in a violent situation. And if you look at the individual clip, is he saying that he wants to commit violence against them? No, usually not. But it is still creating this pattern of talking about people that he doesn't like being in violent situations.
Okay, now my direct question to that would be, can you make a video showing us 3 to 5 examples of him putting people he doesn't like, and they need to be recently, like you said, recently, 3 to 5 people that he doesn't like. Can you show us a video of him talking about them in violent situations? Can you show us what you're talking about? Because again, in this video, you do the same thing. You tell us these things, but you show us nothing. So can you make us a video showing 3 to 5 examples of Trump doing what you're saying? I feel like that's a very reasonable ask. And then towards the end of your video, you say this.
So I guess let me know what I have missed about his video. I went back and watched it a second time, and I don't really understand what the video even was. So let me know what I missed.
Okay, what I think you missed is if you're going to claim somebody is doing something, you need to show the source material to prove what you're saying. I think you've missed the fact that you can't set up the discussion. If you're trying to have an honest discussion, right? You can't set up the discussion based off of what you interpreted, especially when you're asking people why they don't agree with you about things Trump said or why they don't see it the same way you see it. A great way to talk about that is for us to actually both see with our own eyes what Trump said, and then we can explain why we feel this certain way about it. But when you skip past that and just start the conversation based off of your interpretation, it skews the conversation. So what I'm doing when I'm asking you to provide the context is I'm reshaping the landscape of the conversation so we can base it at the real source of what was actually said. Not your interpretation, not my interpretation, what actually came out of the horse's mouth. And I think you're missing that is the most productive way to, for one, get to the truth, but to have honest discussions.